Hello fellow makers and welcome back to 3D Printed Soup. Let's have a bit of a step away from electric 3D printing and have a look at some manual 3D printing. I was walking past a thrift store the other day and I saw this beauty in the window and it looks awful. It's I Do 3D Vertical, your pen, your world. There's capitals and full stops. I don't know how that punctuation works, but hey. Basically, you use a pen full of liquid UV resin, and as you're drawing it with it, apparently, you draw with it, and the pen uses UV light to cure it, and you can make beautiful 3D models just basically out of the air. Now, I could buy that this works with FDM style printing, where basically you put filament through a hot pen and it comes out the other end. Yeah, they're a bit janky, but they work. But this uses UV resin. I mean, for God's sake, build your own 3D creations, draw in 3D, inspired by 3D printing technology. I think you'll find that UV curing resin actually was around a lot longer than 3D printing has been. So basically, it's inspired by squirting UV resin out of a straw. But hey, look at the wonderful things you can make. You can make a janky skeleton or a janky phoenix. And this includes no colours apparently, except for the one orange and one green. Well, I've got nothing better to do, so let's tear this thing open and see if, one, it contains everything it says it was, because I bought it from a thrift store, so it might just contain a dead rat. And let's have a look and see if I can't make some beautiful 3D resin creations using nothing but basically a crappy squirt pen and a UV torch. Let's give this a try. So inside we've got some templates. These are apparently everything you need to draw around to make the beautiful, the dog ugly things which basically are on the front cover. You've got a skeleton, what looks like it could be a phoenix, and also some stars. And then look, you can make a wonderful dinosaur as well. Well, yeah, okay. What else we got in here? Let's tip it out and see what we can find. So, starting off, we have got the empty case of an Easter egg. Nozzles, one green and one orange. A UV torch kind of contraption. Does this thing even work? Yes, it does, and that's actually quite bright. That might be the only part of this I end up keeping, because a UV torch is actually quite useful. And the other half of a slightly smaller Easter egg container. And some legalese and how to change the batteries inside the pen and how it works. Basically, squeeze, shine torch, wait till cures. But what do we squeeze this onto? We have a textured see-through plastic build plate. Well, that seems fairly good. So yeah, that might actually work. If it's textured, hopefully I'll be able to draw onto it and it won't stick onto the build plate and I'll be able to peel it off. Right, okay, how do we get into this black plastic thing? Oh, got a flap here. Just tear this open. And here are our UV squidgy pen things. Oh look, they've got lightning bolts on the side. How lovely. We've got a sort of a tealy one there. And an orange one. I don't know how much is actually in these things. Give it a quick shake. Can't feel anything in there, but I think it's probably the minimum amount of UV resin they can get away with. Okay, let's take the top off. Oh, okay, that's weird. It's righty-loosey, lefty-tighty. That's very odd. It's completely the wrong way around, but I'm sure there's a reason for that. But yep, there is definitely UV resin in there. It's sticky and it's smelly, so yep. Screw it back on, completely the opposite way around to which is actually the usual way around that humans do it, so that's really oddly anti-intuitive. Okay, and then we've got the teal one. Right, so first of all, let's have a quick look at the nozzles. Just get them out of the plastic bag. Okay, so it looks like you twist these, and these actually twist the right way this time, which is a nice change. And I've just realised why the pen's open the wrong way. It's so you can tighten this up on it, and then you can open and shut the nozzle here like so, and it won't come loose when you're drawing with it. Okay, that makes sense. Now I understand why they twist the wrong way. Right, okay, let's start with putting the nozzle on the orange one. As I say, it twists the wrong way, so you just twist it backwards, and then you open the nozzle end by turning the black bit the right way. Okay, so it comes out in a thin line, and yeah, so far so easy to control. I haven't actually put the UV attachment on here yet. I just want to see how this stuff draws before I attach the UV attachment to it. And yeah, it's a bit hard to squeeze because the rubber's quite strong, but yeah, it seems fine. One of the lightning bolts on the sides come off, but hey. Okay, let's try putting the UV torch on it. Click it on. Oh, no, move around this way. Okay, this thing does not clip on tightly. Now, you know what? I'm going to try and use the UV light away from the pen. Wow, that makes it really show up. It's like the 70s. Alright, let's dry this out and then try and do some infill if I possibly can. I have no idea how long it takes for this stuff to cure. Alright, give it a squeeze. Oh god, this stuff takes loads of force to actually get out, so you can't actually really get much detail because you're squeezing so damn hard. Looks like lemon curd or marmalade. I really wouldn't recommend eating this stuff. It's probably horribly toxic. I should really be wearing gloves while doing this, but it doesn't say anywhere in the instructions you should be wearing gloves, so you know. Right, okay, let's try jamming that on, and yeah, let's do this while having the UV light on. See what that does. Oh, it falls off. Oh, it's starting to cure while it's actually coming out of the pen. That just makes it into big crusty lumps that kind of ruin the smoothness. But we shall continue. Okay, let's fill in the gaps there and there. And there we go. Let's try curing this. No, I'm not sure whether this is working or not. I'll apply a second layer. Just all the way around the outside. Yeah, I'm going to try and build a benchy ship using nothing but UV resin and a squeezy pen. I can't see this going wrong in the slightest. Oh god, it's messy. This stuff is really, really sticky as well. It smells like melted plastic. Or that might just be the UV lights cooking the plastic casing on the pen. And just pass the UV over it. See if we can't get it to set or cure. Okay, I've done a few layers and this thing is absolute garbage. I've given up actually having the light on the end of the torch because all it does is basically cure the end of the pen, and it just gets crispy lumps at the end of the pen which blocks up the hole. So I'm curing it from the side as I'm painting it. Now let's try and do some vertical posts and see what happens. So I'm just squeezing this stuff out and letting it go up slowly and curing it as it does so with the UV torch here. Right, okay, I have made a few columns there. One of them snapped and the other ones just basically look terrible, which was kind of what I was expecting. But yeah, let's get this whole thing cured and see if I can't at least remove what I have built there off the print bed. Right, okay, let's peel this off and see what happens. Okay, that's still sticky and it's still wet underneath. I don't think the UV torch actually penetrates particularly deeply into the resin itself, which why it might need to be done layer by layer. But I tried that, it kept curing the end of the pen, so you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. But yeah, I'm going to give us an extra dose of UV radiation and see if we can't get this to at least cured till it's dry. Right, okay, it's been 10 minutes. I've stuck on a pair of nitrile gloves because I don't quite know how toxic this stuff is. So, yeah, that's still sticky and gross. It's still flexible, so it's not really curing with that crappy UV pen. And yeah, it's still got loads of it stuck to the print bed. Let's put a bit of UV underneath, see if we can't at least cure the bottom parts. Just find all the wet bits on there and just try and at least dry those out a bit. Okay, that's pretty much as cured I think I'm going to get it. And yeah, this is still sticky and it's still bendy. Oh yeah, and it's the consistency of like wet toffee. It's not good. So yeah, I think we're going to give up on the whole printing a benchy thing and let's move on to something a little bit more complicated. Right, well this thing comes with templates, so let's see if we can't draw ourselves a skeleton, I think. Yeah, we'll do the skeleton, which is on the front cover, just to see if that's actually even possible. Okay, as the flashlight torch thing is not working at all, let's try something a little bit more powerful and mains powered. This is a much more powerful UV torch, which I've got lying around, and I'm going to just give these a once over and get these cured properly so that we can get on with this, because yeah, that torch is going to take forever. Okay, with those drawn and cured as best as possible, let's start pulling this stuff off the build plate. And I'm going to give them an extra dose of radiation to make sure they work. A couple of wet dollops of the UV resin, and then I'll shine it on there and I'll get the rib cages to stand up in 3D if I can. Just going to hold them up there, put them into the wet UV resin, shine the torch in a bit, and it cures and holds them in place like glue. Now that part actually does work. Right, let's chuck some legs on him, some arms, UV resin, see if I can't get one to stand up and go out the front. Yeah, that's actually worked as well. So he's got one arm coming out the front. Right, legs. Stuck those on, glue them in place. Okay, that seems to have worked. Chuck his feet on, cut a lumps of wet resin, and yeah, his feet are now sticking out. And last bit, I'm going to glue his skull to his body. And a bit more UV to make sure he is dry. And yeah, he's there. I mean, he's really wobbly and he's absolutely terrible. Let's give him a final cure in the oven. Right, half an hour later, and yeah, he's still floppy. He's still not cured completely. And yeah, he ain't gonna ever stand up, this guy. I mean, he looks like the skeleton of the front cover a little bit, but yeah, this stuff is awful. This is right up there with Etch-a-Sketch and Spirograph. They look great on the box when you're a kid, but your dad buys them for you, and it turns out they're just a load of crap, and there's no way you can ever emulate the stuff which is in the box. Although, quite frankly, the stuff in the box was crap on this particular product, so hey ho. Right, with that skeleton absolutely ruined, let's try using the Easter egg case. And yeah, I'm just going to basically do a basic dome design here. So spiral legs going out to a circle. I'm going to put another circle on there just to give it some support. Draw that on, and I'm going to leave this for an hour or so and toast it. Right, with that cured, let's try and get this actually out of there. And I've already broken a bit off it already because this stuff is really, really quite brittle. But yeah, I will leave that under the UV light and see how that turns out. Right, summing up and results time. As I said earlier, this is just absolute junk. They have used the words 3D printing and 3D print technology on here to sell you what is basically magic sand. Do you remember magic sand from when you were a kid? You pour it into water and you'd make these amazing sand castles under the water, except for the fact it didn't. It just looked like lumps of sand under the water. This is exactly the same thing. You basically squirt UV resin onto some plastic and then shine filament on it. Unfortunately, the pen is so cack-handed. The filament is so bad and so cheap, and the actual design of the whole thing is so wrong that you're never going to be able to design anything good with it. You're never going to draw with it. It's basically just going to have really ugly splots of cured 3D resin that give the implied shape of something. And yeah, if you could show me anybody who can build that damn phoenix from the front of the box using this junk, I will be very impressed. So yeah, junk, absolute rubbish, absolute waste of time. However, I will be keeping the UV torch because, yeah, that actually might be useful. Other than that, yeah, don't waste your time with this stuff. Buy a proper resin 3D printer. Thanks for watching 3D Printed Soup. Stay happy, stay safe, keep printing.